As I was looking over my notes this morning, my wife glanced at the top of my page and it said, 9 truths about hell. Well, if you looked in your bulletin, the bulletin says 5 truths about hell. And she thought she had a typo, and I just smiled at her. I said, no, that's what happens when you stay up to 3 in the morning studying. 5 points goes to 9 points.
Favor from the gods.
Well, this is a rich chapter. And there's so much truth that God has given us here in Luke chapter 16. You know, the Bible is a book of absolute truths. And that's why the world despises it. The world likes to operate in the gray. The world likes to operate in their realm of how they've created a God in their own mind, in their own fashion. But the Bible's black and white, and it's a book of absolute truths. See, the world has no problem with a baby in a manger. But the world has a problem with the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords who's coming back. The world has no problem with the fact that God is love. And God is love. Thank God.
Enemy taken down.
Problem with the absolute
I
truth.
killed an enemy.
Have killed
The Word of God.
only the 2 of us.
The world has no problem with a place called heaven. As a matter of fact, I've never once preached a funeral for a believer or unbeliever who said, preacher, just one thing, just don't preach about heaven. It's never happened. Matter of fact, I had a very sad encounter not too long ago where I was called to preach a young lady's funeral. I believe she was 34 years old. She had a little girl, probably 8, 9-year-old girl. Was I preached that funeral, she sat towards the front row. Her mother overdosed on drugs. When I met the family,
Get ready,
I met her
it's
mother,
zipline
and I
time.
went through what we're going to do. I said, is there anything that you want me to know or anything that you want to preach about? And she said, preacher, just preach that my daughter's in heaven. And my heart broke because I couldn't. Now I have the grace of some wisdom and how to still minister to the truth, because here's the truth. That young lady's already stepped out into eternity.
Optics
I'm
here.
there now
Close
to
range.
minister to the hearers at that funeral. So I preached. Those that accepted Christ are in heaven, and those who never did are in hell. You said, that's compromise. No, I'm trying to reach the hearts of those to listen to. Never once has a lost person said, just don't preach about heaven. See, they're okay with heaven. But what they're not okay with is hell. Listen to me. So heaven, there is a place called hell. I remember preaching another funeral one time. It was here in the church. And I try again. I try to be balanced. I don't get as loud as I do normally preaching Sunday morning. I try to be
I am taking
more
fire,
respectful.
friends.
I try to be shorter. I try to understand the scene and the study. But I still have an obligation. I still have a duty, especially at the time of a death, especially
Reloading.
at the time when someone's thinking about
Using my Phoenix kit.
to preach them about heaven, to preach them about Jesus Christ, but also to warn them about themselves. Remember, I got done. The fashion I thought was pretty mild and respectful for the setting.
I am taking fire,
One of
friends.
the mothers came by. I'm still standing off to the side, and a mother and a little girl walked by me.
Reloading.
A little girl was up to me. You can see her.
Recharging
That's not
shields.
a bad thing. For a little girl to
Let's
hear
move
heaven
this
in
way.
the heaven.
Just us
And
left.
that mother took that little girl's
I
ears
bathe
and
in
covered
the
him and said, don't
blood.
listen to him. He's just trying to scare you. I felt like saying, yeah, man.
Here I
Wait
go.
to Jesus Christ. Because without him, you will lift your eyes up in that place.
I am taking fire, friends.
Take a moment to recharge my shields.
Absolute truth. And I want to give you 9 facts found in this chapter.
Firing.
Take a moment to
The first one is, I mentioned itself, hell is a real place. Hell is a real place. Look back there in Luke chapter 16 and look at verse 23. Luke chapter 16, verse 23, the Bible says, "And in
Frag
sorrow
out.
he lifted
Arc star
up
out.
his eyes."
Reload.
Abraham
Enemy
found
taken down.
Lazarus in his book. Here's this rich man. And when he took his
Giving my
last
shields a
breath,
recharge.
he is on this side of eternity, and he opened his eyes on that
I
side
am
of
preparing
eternity,
myself.
and he found himself in a place called hell. Hell's the real place. There he lifted his eyes. You know it's the location of hell.
Using grapple.
Because it's a real place. Not just this mystical place, no, it's a literal place, and the Bible tells you where it's at. The Bible says in Matthew chapter 12, verse 40, Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly. So shall the Son of Man be 3 days
I am taking fire.
and 3 nights, listen to me,
I have fallen.
of the earth. You know that Jonah was a picture of Jesus Christ's death,
30 seconds.
burial,
That's
and
half a minute.
resurrection. Just like Jonah's vomited out of the whale's belly, Jesus Christ comes out of the grave. But here's what Jonah said in Jonah chapter 2, verse 2, out of the belly of hell cried I. Though his body was in that well, his soul went down to the pits of hell. And he
Just
started
10 seconds.
fighting the
Tick tock.
fire.
I am taking fire.
He cried out his head. The Bible says in Acts chapter 2 about the Lord Jesus Christ, and the Bible says this, "And seeing this before the sake of the resurrection of Christ, that his soul is not left in hell."
I am taking fire.
Jesus Christ, just like Jonah, went down to hell. Yes, they laid
Using
the
grapple.
body of Jesus Christ in a tomb,
Recharging
but his
shields.
soul descended into the heart of the earth, and there he was for 3 days and 3 nights. The physical location, the place.
Setting up a zip line. Giving my shields a
Hell is
recharge.
just as real as heaven. Hell is just as real, and in some ways, more real than this present time.
Barrel
Where you
stabilizer
stand and
here.
sit today.
Level 2.
Because this place is going to burn up one day. Our place where people are going. Having a real vacation. And I tell you what hell is not. All those who want to deny hell, hell is not the